For block number 3, I thought I'd go for a simpler scene and focus more on the shaders and rendering. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so again, same asset scene to start with, and I'm blocking out the cliffs here with big cubes, and again I'm getting my camera set up from the beginning. I'm now adjusting one of these cubes, I'm giving it more edge loops, and basically I'm just moving the verts so that it looks a bit different from every angle. I then realign this new deformed cube and mark out the kind of curvature of the cliffs on one side of the valley, and I do the same again from the other side. I use rotations and bending to kind of get the flow a bit more. I then duplicate those assets and make them a bit smaller to again break up these large surfaces that we're getting. I divide up the ground a bit more and duplicate the meshes, and again I'm keeping it quite primitive, but I'm sculpting on this ground surface so that I get a nice build up of snow towards the edges of the cliffs. If we were taking this into Engine, I could just export this mesh and then import it into the game engine and adjust my terrain to match it. Seeing as though we're not doing that though, I will stay inside of Modo. I then get another cube and deform it a bit more. This is much smaller, trying to make it a bit more rounded. And then I again position this so it intersects with the cliffs to add a bit more detail onto them. What's nice about doing this kind of thing is that you are breaking up the larger surfaces, but you're also creating edging that will get picked up by lighting. So you're going to end up with a more interesting image. I group these up and I start duplicating them and slotting them into the cliff sides on both sides of the scene. I just use the same duplicated mesh each time, just rotating it, scaling it, pushing it back in, pushing it in at different levels, at different depths. I'm now starting to think about the foreground, and there's this rocky outcrop. So again, I just use a cube that I already have, one of these deformed cubes, and rotate them, move them, translate them into new and interesting formations. I'm thinking about the fall off. In the concept it looks quite smooth and there's snow build up on top of it. Using lots of different meshes you get that nice detailing. Kind of rejig the camera, have a look at the cliff walls again. And again, further sculpting on the terrain, on the landscape mesh, to again emphasise that snow build up. And now adding a bit more detail to the top of the cliff line. And this is really to give the composition a bit more. So now the cliffs kind of curve in, we have a bit more exposed sky, have a more of a leading line in the image. Again, further detailing with smaller meshes, same ones I had before, just a bit more to break up those edges. I'm now looking at the material itself and the material of the snow. I have a rock brownish material at the bottom, and then on top of that I have a snow material. I'm using a gradient now on the slope parameter to determine where the snow falls on the landscape. So this is quite good if we want the snow to fall from the top and not affect the cliff sides. In this demo I'm demoing with red and blue so you can see much clearly what's going on. I'm now making adjustments to the snow itself and tinting it slightly bluer. Now the concept is black and white, so it's up to me to think about how the colours work and what I might want. I'm now adding in some procedural noise and applying that to the bump and displacement of the material, so I create that snowy look on broken surface. And this is just lots of tweaks now, just trying to get the right effect. I'm now looking at the strata on the rock. There is a procedural strata texture you can use in Modo for this. Lots of back and forth with the renderer, checking settings. And then I apply the snow again to have a look. I think I even actually take out the strata in replacement for a etched surface. And again, in the viewport you can see this etching taking place on the bump. And what's nice about this etching is that the snow gradient picks up this etching. And now that I've got my materials more in place, I go back to adding in some smaller rock areas. Again, just thinking about now where the gradient will pick up information. How can we add more to the scene? I've now taken one of those cubes, given it some more geometry, subdivided it, and again I'm weight painting the ground and using a surface particle generator and replicator to add rocks to the surface of the snow. Again, it's just more detail to the snow itself so that we get a better read of the environment when it's lit. The beauty of this is because it's on the weight map, we can just tweak the weight map over and over until we get an effect that we like. And the replicator allows you to change the position, rotation, scale of the replicated item. Extend the cliffs to either side of the camera just for a bit more, and I then start tweaking the environment colour. Again, it's a black and white image, so it's up to me to make the picture look interesting. And I think I looked at a blue sky, but the image was quite flat. I also take those replicated stones and make them the rock colour without any snow on them. I think this helps just break up the ground. And I actually change the sky colour to more of a sunset orange. But I duplicate the the environment, and have a separate one that looks for the that is visible to the camera only, and another which is for the cliffs themselves. And that's it. thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then please like, comment and subscribe. And for more game art related content, check out the other videos on my channel. See you next time.